Welcome back to Eba Zambales, our destination for this episode. Eba, in any other time, is an easy drive from Manila, but with restrictions in the province still strictly enforced due to the pandemic, those like myself with urgent business to attend to have a faster and more convenient way to travel there, by chopper, an air taxi helicopter.
Everyone knows a chopper is the most convenient way to get from point A to point B. You skip traffic, you can get around quicker, but I imagine it's become even more convenient during the pandemic.
That's right, David. So getting from point to point is still best done by a chopper because with these helicopters, all you have to do is book with us at least a day before. We'll process all the requirements for you, and then we just fly from point A to point B. When you get there, pretty much you don't have to go through any checkpoints because all the documents we've already submitted in advance, so nobody's going to hassle you.
It's not hard to imagine how convenient chopper flights can be. And because you can take off and land from all sorts of locations, your travel time is cut significantly. More so now with many provinces still closed to unofficial visits.
Right now, our country operates on a per LGU basis, so each LGU has their own requirements. So let's say you have to go from City A, City B, City C, all the way to City Z. You have to go through all these offices and get their requirements. Whereas if you fly with our taxi, we can just get the requirements of point A and point Z, and we can get you there very smoothly.
Everything to ensure a smooth and safe flight is done by air taxi behind the scenes, like processing your government travel permits, determining the quickest flight path, identifying the nearest landing zone, even sanitizing the aircraft. All you need to do is show up and, well, pick the type of chopper best suited for your trip. Air taxi offers a variety of choppers. For shorter flights, say between Manila and Batangas, the Airbus H130 we took before is ideal. For longer distances and over lots of water, like Boracay perhaps, the powerful twin-engine MD Explorer is a better option. As is their other twin-engine aircraft, the Airbus H150, which I took to fly over the coast and mountains of Central Luzon to Zambales. Taking a chopper, of course, is far more expensive than driving to even the most remote destination. But with travel restrictions as unpredictable as they are today, taking risks could be even more costly.
The debate for the price and the rates of the helicopter has always been there, and the easiest way to compare it is with time. You cannot buy time. You cannot find a way to get time that you've lost back, but you can find a way to minimize the time you're spending.
Speaking of time, I'm making the most of my visit to Zambales by asking Ben, the CEO of Eba Botanicals, to show me around the other areas and products they're developing. I've seen how rich the land here is from the air, but I'm even more convinced seeing what Eba has to offer up close.
It's no surprise that pretty much anything you grow in the soil here produces amazing products. Just look at how rich the land is.
I can now see why Ben and Gina Lopez before him were so excited about the potential of Eba.
From this perspective, it may look like I'm walking through a field of weeds, of tall grass, but this is actually vetiver. It's another important ingredient found in perfumes and other fragrances.
Here in the rugged foothills where Eta families live, vetiver is being grown and harvested by the local community. The crop isn't as sought after as Ylang-Ylang, but the demand for vetiver in the world market is growing. Apart from farming, Ben's Mead Foundation has inherited Gina Lopez's mission to develop ecotourism as another source of sustainable income for families. Whether you're a traveler doing volunteer work with the local community or just a regular tourist, your visit to the farm in Eba can make a big difference.
I can spend more hours just walking around the trees, but even if you're not involved in the flavors and fragrance business or a potential investor, there's much more to do in the farm. It is, after all, a leisure destination. And they even offer eco tours around the property. I think the kids will enjoy this.
The ride may be slow and bumpy, but hey, it's the most eco-friendly way to tour the property. And for kids to learn about the flora of the Philippines in ways the internet or their remote classes can never teach. The ride ends in the former home of Gina Lopez and her family. It's now a guest house for rent on Airbnb, but for those only staying the day, home-cooked meals can be arranged. It's part of their eco-tourism vision, where locals source the food, do the cooking, serve the guests, even manage the property. This Filipino lunch is great, but the staff can also cook Indian and vegetarian dishes. Naturally, most ingredients are sourced from the farm. And if ever you're wondering if Ylang-Ylang can be eaten, well, not exactly. But tasted? Yes, indeed.
Absolutely. This is a Santa Ana gin, which is recently released with our Philippine botanicals. So the Ylang-Ylang from Eba Zambales. There's also Dalandan, Calamansi, and Alpinia, which is of the ginger family. So this is a...
And it's from here?
It's from here.
So everything's from here.
So this is, as I mentioned, a recent launch. Currently only available in the Philippines, but will be available soon globally from the producer of Don Papa, but its own brand, Santa Ana.
Too bad I'm here for work, but after a long day, a glass of G&T wouldn't hurt, would it? And since it's a siesta time in the province, I'm going to try to get some sleep.
The guest house is really huge, and the views of the Ylang-Ylang trees are amazing. Speaking of Ylang-Ylang, that's what one of the rooms is called. Let's check it out. I have high expectations. Ylang-Ylang is their premium product here. This is the bedroom. Wow, not bad.
Sure, I've covered more luxurious hotel suites before, but with a scent and view of Ylang-Ylang trees surrounding you here, this is really unique.
I can totally see why Gina Lopez built her home right on this spot, overlooking these trees, the river, and the mountains beyond. It's a perfect spot to build a house. But before it was a guest house, as it is now, it was her personal sanctuary. And in a way, it reflects her character and her love for nature. That's right, more than anything else, her love for nature.
Naturalists would feel right at home here, but don't be fooled by the setting. They've got all sorts of creature comforts like high-speed Wi-Fi and air conditioning. Eager to get an opinion about the quality of the farm's Ylang-Ylang extract, I had a meeting arranged with one of the top noses in the perfume industry, Joël Leroux Patrice, the creative force behind Le Parfumeur Français of Grasse, based in Paris. Givenchy, Acqua di Parma, and Jo Malone are some of her clients. She's a big fan of Ylang-Ylang and is familiar with the best from Comoros Islands, her benchmark for comparing. I'm really excited to find out what you think about the samples that were sent to you by Eba Botanicals. So let's begin with the first essential oil that they sent. And this, I understand, is the Eba Ylang Extra. How would you describe that fragrance or that scent?
When I smelled IBA Ylang-Ylang Extra oil, I had a very smoky top note, like calamus essential oil, with a nutty, fatty walnut, very interesting in the dry fruit part, and even an ambrette seed facet. That's really uncommon, I would say. It is less floral and green, fruity, ripe, and ethereal than the Comoros, but very complex too. It has a less medicated note also than the Comoros, and the heart is super smoky, even woody. So for a floral scent that I expect, I get a woody, exceptional note. So I was really charmed by it. To come back to the heart of the essential oil, I even detected in the woody part something not so far from the cedar wood from Atlas, quite animalic, rich, sensual. So very, very interesting. Well, I was completely under spell, I would say, of Ylang-Ylang from IBA. I would say that it's really unique. In a normal way, I would say it's hypnotic.
Wow.
Very sensual. Intoxicating, maybe a little.
So really, you describe it as something very unique. And I like the word you use, hypnotic, intoxicating even. But let me ask you straight, is it something that is of a high quality and something that someone of your level of expertise and experience might want to work with?
It's super high quality. And I would say it's even promising. Well, originally, Ylang came to perfumers from Southeast Asia, from Philippines, But it's true that today, the Greater Comoros, Mayotte, Nosy are the main producer. So I would say this is a great news that we could source again from Philippines, qualities of Ylang, And after being absent, you are right, for, I think, more than a century.
Joelle, however, was less effusive about the other samples sent, but it's a very promising start, as she said, especially since the farm and the trees in Eba have only been producing Ylang oil recently. With business done for the day, there's some time left to enjoy the rest of the afternoon before flying home. Although I don't mind staying overnight, if only to experience dinner by bonfire, while staring at the stars, of course. For the more adventurous, however, there's hiking. Zambales is blessed with hilly, forested terrain, and guided walks up the mountains can be organized. And with a river close to the farm, guests can go kayaking through lush mangroves and paddle their way to the open sea. Zambales is probably better known for its beaches, and those along the shores of Eba and Botolan are only a few minutes away from the farm. Here, guests are encouraged to visit and even volunteer at the Pawikan hatchery. Zambales is one of the top nesting sites of the endangered species. The sanctuary protects the sea turtles and their eggs from the nets of poachers.
In an ideal world, you would actually want to leave the eggs in where the turtle laid the eggs, because those are the perfect conditions. So here what we do is actually in this hatchery, we try to recreate the conditions of the natural nesting habitat of those eggs.
Another popular activity is 4x4 off-roading. The foothills and shallow riverbeds of Zambales are ideal conditions for driving off-road. And gosh, the scenery you pass through is absolutely stunning.
Walking through this nature trail along the riverbank in Eba, walking through all this natural beauty, I can't help but feel joy, but also sadness. A bit of sadness.
Indeed, there's joy and pain. The joy of discovering such natural splendor in this remote corner of the country, but also the pain you feel amidst the poverty that remains here. But ultimately, it's joy that prevails. The joy of helping conserve a piece of nature and culture that's disappearing. The joy of taking part in these farmers' quest to improve their lot and find pride in their prized harvest.
Too bad I only had enough time to fly in and out on the same day. But I'm definitely coming back to Zambales once travel by road becomes less restrictive. You see, a lot of great things are happening here, and I don't want to miss it. But for now, I gotta go.
It's true that travel changes you. It makes you see the world around you differently. This land is a rare gift of nature, but we often take it for granted and allow others to exploit it. But what I've seen below gives me hope and gives me reason to return.
And that's all for this episode of Executive Class. I'm David Celdran in Eba, Zambales. Thanks for watching.